You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 6 p.m., I'm Charles Prodigy Ritchie with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. Well, last night in the NHL, it was the Chicago Blackhawks who lose a shootout to the Minnesota Wild at home in the United Center, 3-2. The Hawks do, in the process, managed to gain a point in the Central to stay within 2 points of the Central leading Dallas Stars. Richard Panik and Andrew Shaw each score a goal. Nito Niederreiter and Eric Halla each score a goal for the Wild. Scott Darling goes 2 for 32 on save attempts for a .941 save percentage for the Blackhawks. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls look to make it 3 in a row this evening as they will host the Sacramento Kings tonight at the United Center with a tip-off time at the United Center of 7 p.m. In the NCAA Men's March Madness Tournament, 3 upsets happened in the second round, 16 total for the first 2 rounds, as we are now set for the Sweet 16 matchups as follows. The Thursday matchups will be number 3 Miami hosting number 2 Villanova at 6:10 on CBS. Number 1 Kansas will host number 5 Maryland at 8:40 p.m. on CBS. Number 3 Texas A&M will be on the road against number 2 Oklahoma at 6:37 p.m. on TBS. Number 1 Oregon will host defending national champions, the number 4 Duke Blue Devils at 8:55 p.m. on TBS. Friday's matchups will be number 6 Notre Dame hosting number 7 Wisconsin at 6:27 p.m. on TBS. Number 1 North Carolina hosting number 5 Indiana Hoosiers at 8:57 p.m. on TBS. Number 1 Virginia hosting number 4 Iowa State at 6:10 p.m. on CBS. And Syracuse hosting number 11 Gonzaga at 8:40 p.m. on CBS. This has been your Chicagoland Sports Radio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information, go to BeyondAir.com. I'm Charles Prodigy Ritchie. You're welcome back for another live edition of Prime Up. I'm Charles the Prodigy Ritchie, and welcome back here on this Monday as we conclude the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. We just had St. Patty's Day pass by over the weekend, and what an exciting time for us. Once again, I'm Charles the Prodigy Ritchie, joined by Juice the Influence. Juice, where can they follow you on social media, my man?
Juice, you can follow me on Twitter, Rolo_Juice. You can follow me on Instagram, Juice_the Influence, and Facebook, Jamar James.
Nice. And once again, for all you folks out there, you can find me at Hitman083 on Twitter.com, and then on Instagram, 08prodigy09. And then you can also find me on charlestheprodigyritchie.wordpress.com. Well, folks, sorry about that. Can't get a little... Please excuse me. I'm just like a little hyped up. But here's some comments from Nick Dermott right here from the Bulls. They finally get 2 games won in a row. I mean, finally. So a winning streak going on. Here's what he had to say. Check this out. Sorry about that, folks. We're seeming to have a little technical difficulty here. But anyway, as you know, the Chicago Bulls have just been, really just having a hard time finding some win these days. I mean, just trying to find like a little shoulder to cry on, if you ask me. I mean, they're the number 8 seed right now. Tonight they're going to be on the road. I mean, not on the road, but at home tonight, hosting the Sacramento Kings with 7 p.m. tip-off. And I find a little interesting stat about this. I don't know about you, Juice, but check this out. I mean, the Bulls, they beat the Sacramento Kings. They'll not only sweep the series, they'll still maintain number 8 seed in the Eastern Conference standings for the final spot in the playoffs. Still trying to make their way up at the best-case scenario. Looks like number 7. I doubt number 6 at this point.
Yeah.
But the Sacramento Kings this year, they owe him a first-round draft pick. That's going to be one thing to keep in mind right here. And here's the thing. I mean, if you're a fan out there, you're listening to all this stuff right now, it's kind of like, harm if you do, harmed if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If they do beat them, they may have to hold off getting a first-round pick that's owed to them next year.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, what do you feel like the state of the Bulls is right now from what we're last seeing?
Well, I see them getting better, man. I see McDermott is really pulling through for his team, man. He's been on a somewhat of a hot streak. The whole King situation.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna have to hold off for another year, if they win, I mean, to be honest, I don't see the Bulls on my team, but I don't see them going and winning a championship this year.
No,
I honestly don't see it.
It's more like this season right now, the way it's shaping down to it's unreal how they were the number one seed at one point in the East, and I think this was around middle of December, if you remember, towards the end of December. Now you actually plummeted to outside the Eastern Conference. I've been saying all year long that they got to be careful. They could possibly be out of the playoffs. I mean, the way that everything was shaping up, that race was just so tight. Now you're number 8, and it just seems like, to me, in my eyes, I don't know about you, but it's more like a season trying to save face, if you will. Right.
Yeah, I would say go ahead, beat the Kings, and try to get Tom Thibodeau back. But, I mean, I would say beat the Kings and, go ahead and try to go to the playoffs and do their best, because you never know. They can go in there and win it.
Do you mean Tom Thibodeau?
Tom Thibodeau. But, yeah, man, I say save face, man. You never know. I mean, this is where impossible happens, so they could win a championship this year. You never know. Everybody might get healthy and just go crazy, you know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, speaking of a guy who may seem like, he's not necessarily going crazy, but I mean, he's starting to get a little amped up right now, and they definitely need him to speak up. This is from one of the Chicago Bulls players on the roster. You got Taj Gibson. Here's what he had to say. Yes, I think it was over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, right after the heels of getting their victory. Excuse us, sorry again. We're just having some problems getting some audio to work here. Sorry for all you tuning in here. Anyway, once again, we're live here at ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. You're listening to Primed Up along with Charles Prodigy Richie and Juice the Influence right now.
Juice!
Yep. Yeah, and that's definitely what the Bulls could sure use right about now.
Definitely.
I mean, they're just needing something to spice up their season right now, and it's just really they're hurting right now, And I don't know where we have to go with it. I mean, I found an interesting article on Derrick Rose. He's shooting a 52.2% right now currently from the 3-point line, while at the same time he's a career 30.4 average shooter. I mean, what do you think about that, since he's been going to the 3-point line as of late?
I mean, I would say it's a wonderful thing, because before, Derrick Rose really didn't have a 3-point shot. And for him to have 52% now, it's that's amazing improvement. You know what I mean? So I would say you just get in there, get in the gym, and keep practicing that 3-pointer until, I mean, I ain't going to say he's going to be like Steph Curry, but I mean, we need that. We need that in our arsenal. You know what I mean? Spread the floor with that.
Yeah, and who else do you look to to get going on this team right now? I mean, it's definitely a lot of red flags to be raised up right here with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, you got a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is Gasol, believe it or not, he's gonna be actually playing, but he'll be eliminated tonight versus the Kings. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they should limit Gasol probably for the rest of the season. I mean, Gasol, like I say, he's getting outdated a little bit. Who I look to bring the team back is McDermott, and I would say Gibson. Gibson has always been our ace in the hole. He's always been able to come through and produce for the team. But McDermott is really showing some promise this year. So I look to McDermott and Gibson, just keep trying to carry the team, keep trying to help, and just keep making the impossible happen.
No, and that's what they need to keep doing. Another thing is too regarding for the Bulls Kings. Here's a little preview tonight that's going to be heading into this game. With going for their third straight, one of the things I'm noticing right now that seems to be like, they've been having a solid week of basketball where they went 3-1. I mean, they only lost to the Wizards this past week, to John Wall, who actually stormed right through the Bulls, if you remember. Yeah. And their wins over the Raptors and Nets and Jazz. I mean, right now, that currently as it stands, they're 35-33. Yeah, they're just now a half game back of the Pacers for 7th. Go figure that.
Right.
That just show you how tight this race is. Out here, everybody. I mean, if they don't make this playoffs, where do you rank this team in all like Chicago sports history? I mean, do you rank them up there, like say with the Bears, the Cubs teams? If they do not make this playoffs, I'd like to know what everyone's thoughts are. If you want to hit me up, I'm at Hitman083. You can tweet me at some questions, or even tweet out to Juice Influence. What are your thoughts? Is this a failure season right now? I mean, after kicking Tom Thibodeau to the curb, and then bringing in Fred Hoiberg. I mean, guy who might be possibly, in my opinion, I don't know if I'd be willing to give him another chance. I mean, he kind of deserves another chance, but I'm not too sure about that after what we've seen.
Yeah,
it's really kind of iffy right now. Just the waters right now.
He's not bringing the players together like Tom Thibodeau did.
No, he's not, and that's the thing. And the Bulls, if they're gonna do anything, I think they need to start pulling together right now as a group.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
now would be the time.
No, it's definitely the time. I mean, I don't think you want to not be in the playoffs, but then again, if they don't make it, maybe this will be a refresher for a lot of fans.
Yeah,
I have no idea, but anyway, just let's see what happens here.
Yeah, maybe they cut the season short and start rebuild.
Once again, we're getting ready to go hit this break. Coming up, we'll be having a special guest online who's actually covers one of the teams actually in the NCAA tournament. Stay tuned. You'll find out who that will be coming up as soon as we take this break. You're listening to Primed Up on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Show that keeps you primed and on time. We'll be back after these words. And welcome back, everybody, to Primed Up, the show that keeps you primed on time with Charles Prodigy Richie, joined by Juice the Influence.
Juice!
And right now, we got a special guest on the line. We got Jesse Doherty, who's a beat reporter for the Syracuse national men's basketball team. Juice, are you there, my man?
Yeah.
Yep, can hear you now. Sorry.
That's okay.
I got you
now. Jesse, welcome I wanted to say welcome to Primed Up here at Chicagoland Sports Radio. Just want to say thank you again for coming on. For those of you who want to follow Jesse Doherty, he can be found on Twitter.com, and you can look him up at DOUGHERTY _Jesse, JESSE. Well, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. How you doing tonight?
Doing well. Just got back from a long weekend in St. Louis, covering the games there, the start of the Midwest Regional. So we actually drove back from St. Louis to Syracuse. So it was a long from that. But otherwise, so far so good.
Well, how you feel about Syracuse's chances this year? I mean, they haven't won a national title. I mean, if you look back to their history, it was last time they won it would be 13 years ago, which is against a coach who's favored right now, who's the coach of the Tar Heels in North Carolina, who actually coached Kansas University of Kansas basketball team back in 2003. So how do you guys feel about this year's, trying to make another run at it?
Yeah, I think it's tough because, first of all, their draw is great. So
right.
You figured they were going to see Michigan State, then you figured they were going to see Utah, and then instead they saw Middle Tennessee State, and now they're going to see Gonzaga. So not that those teams are necessarily bad because it's March and anyone can have a great day, but you really thought their draw was going to be way harder, and now it seems like their path almost paved at least the Elite Eight, and then you get Virginia, which is probably the worst one out of the four. So I think that, like, in terms of making a run, Syracuse can do it themselves, but they're also getting a ton of help. So I think there's a lot of confidence, at least in that locker room, that this team can go. And I think it's not something these guys will say outright because, you try to respect every team. But I think there is this feeling that, well, we're playing good basketball, we're playing good defense, we're making our shots. But also, if you look at the draw, our road's not that tough. And, if we win a few games here and there and then we upset a Virginia team, we're in Houston. It's easier said than done, but it also is way easier than it was when you looked at the bracket at the beginning of the tournament when you thought it was going to be.
Any surprises you found this year? I mean, I know we come to expect a lot of upsets happening throughout the NCAA men's basketball tournament, but I mean, we had like a total of like 16 up so far. Any one that like sticks out and like surprises you so far at the moment?
Yeah, I think. Something that surprised me, honestly, is that if you really look at the bracket, it seemed like right away it was going to be a really big upset year. And it wasn't at the start, but really now that it's settled, it really is all the teams that, like, mostly should be there. There are a few that are absent, so you don't have West Virginia there, you don't have Xavier there. But for the most part, every team that you really thought should be there, except Michigan State and those other two squads, is there. So I think that almost was surprising that, like, even after all that craziness in the first 2 days, there was some order restored on Sunday. And I think teams that that really are consistent and show that they can shoot the ball well, because this tournament is all about shooting the ball well consistently. It's all about playing, and shooting, and that's it. And people can say it's about stars, and people can say it's about depth, but it's about shooting and playing defense. And it seems pretty simple to say that, but it really is the key. And it's because teams like Xavier, they don't shoot well. And,
right.
And even Michigan State, they have some great shooters on that team, but they've had some dry spells this year, and they hit a dry spell, and they lost that game. So
right.
I think what really did surprise me was that Sunday really restored order. I expected this to kind of be a year that there was maybe like 12s and maybe even like a 13 or 14 in the Sweet 16. But if you look at it now, Syracuse and Gonzaga are kind of the high seeds, if you will, but they're traditionally good programs. So I don't even think of them as like Cinderellas of any sort. I think they're just kind of underseeded this year and just playing kind of the basketball that they're kind of expected to play. So I think really order has been restored for the most part, which is surprising given the way everything started.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you got some, like, pretty interesting matchups coming here in the Sweet 16. I think one I'm definitely going to be, like, keeping an eye on. I mean, Duke. I mean, how they keep finding a way to, like, make it, like, pass this far. I mean, they're in the Sweet 16. I think a few years ago, I think they got bounced out, like, around, like, with 32 teams left. But do you think it's possible, like, maybe this year, like, probably see like a Duke, North Carolina. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna be a long shot, but I mean, who do you got? Like, if you were to side with, who you got winning it all right now? I mean, who do you like so far? North Carolina, Roy Williams, or
yeah. I mean, that's exactly who I had. You read my mind there. I started with North Carolina. I'm not going to waver on them yet. I think they beat a pretty good Providence team, a thin Providence team, but a good Providence team the other night. Mm-hmm. And this matchup with Kansas, not Kansas, Indiana is going to show a lot with North Carolina, because if they win that game, I think that they're going to win it all, because I think that will prove to everyone that they really are a team that can string together some good wins and be consistent, because they did have a great run in the ACC this year, mm-hmm. but within that there was some games where they were a little shaky and they played some teams tight they shouldn't, and there are teams out in the tournament where you're getting to the stage in Sweet 16 where if you play these good teams tight, it's not like a Wake Forest or Georgia Tech or Virginia Tech kind of game where you can get away with it. It's the kind of game where, like, if you play Indiana tight, you're going to lose to Indiana, because they have a great point guard and they have talented wings and they have a talented roster. So you can't just expect to play teams tight and sleep one day in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and then come out of it unscathed. So I think if North Carolina can show up in the Sweet 16 and just take care of business, I think that's kind of just going to propel them all the way, because I think they're the most talented team in the country. I think Kansas gives them a run for that, but I'd say they're definitely, for your money's worth, the most talented team, top to bottom, first 8 guys in the rotation. And if they get by this Indiana team that's kind of surprising people, I think they have an easier game in the Elite 8, and then Final Four even on this side is getting easier. Now the Michigan State's gone. I think Virginia's a much weaker team than Michigan State, so they got lucky in that matchup round 2, and I think beating, getting that point with enough momentum when they get to the final, that whoever comes to the other side of the bracket, they'll be able to beat.
Hey Jesse, do you mind if I ask you, is it okay if I have you hang around for like maybe like a few more minutes? We gotta get ready to take a update break real quick. Do you mind if we keep you around for another minute or two?
Great.
Okay.
Yep.
please remain in line, and we're going to keep you right back, okay? So you're listening to Primed Up, everybody, on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. The show keeps you primed out of time. Now for this update. At 6:30 p.m., I'm Charles Prodigy Ritchie with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update. Well, now the NCAA Madness continues with the Sweet 16. The schedule will be as follows here. Thursday's matchups will be number 3 Miami on the road, hosting number 2 Villanova at 6:10 on CBS. Number 1 Kansas will host number 5 Maryland at 8:40 p.m. on CBS. Number 3 Texas A&M will be on the road. They'll be taking down number 2 Oklahoma at 6:37 p.m. on TBS. And then Friday's matchups will be number 6 Notre Dame hosting number 7 Wisconsin at 6:27 p.m. on TBS. Number 1 North Carolina hosting number 5 Indiana Hoosiers at 8:57 p.m. on TBS. Number 1 Virginia hosting number 4 Iowa State at 6:10 p.m. on CBS. And Syracuse will be hosting number 11 Gonzaga. Syracuse is the number 10 seed. That'll be at 8:40 p.m. on CBS. In the NBA, the Bulls are looking to make it 3 in a row as they are going to match up with the Sacramento Kings tonight in the United Center. Tip-off time will be at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. In the NHL, the Hawks, in the process, managed to gain a point despite having a shootout loss yesterday to the Minnesota Wild. They've now trailed the Dallas Stars by 2 points, where they got 91 and the Dallas Stars have 93. Richard Panik and Andrew Shaw each score a goal. Nino Niederreiter and Eric Halla each score a goal for the Wild. Scott Darling goes 2 for 32 on save attempts for a .941 save percentage. Also in the world of MMA, it was Michael Bisping and Chael Sonnen, former UFC fighter. They go for like a little classic grappling match. Over the weekend, it ends up going to a brawl. In the WWE, Sting has not announced his retirement officially yet, as he reported to TMZ on Sunday. This has been your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information, go BeyondAir.com. I'm Charles Prodigy Ritchie. All right, welcome back, everybody, to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. You're listening to the Primed Up, the show that keeps you primed and on time. And once again, we got Jesse Doherty, who's actually Syracuse beat writer for the NCAA men's basketball team. And, I just wanted to continue this conversation real quickly before we wrap this up. We got 2 minutes before we go on the break. I just want to know, any special memories you got, like tournament-wise in NCAA, since we're in the, since it's coming down to a conclusion in the next couple of weeks? Any ones that stick out for you
from this weekend,
or overall the overall history, the overall tournament history, where it be from the Duke Blue Devils. I know for me, like in the '90s, I probably have to say one would probably be like the '92 Duke Blue Devils when they won that classic game. I think it was with Christian Laettner. They actually managed to advance, and I think that was against Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So I'll keep it Syracuse-centric because that's kind of the team I know best.
Yeah.
But when they won in 2003, so on the last play, Kansas had a chance to win it, and they swung the ball backside. Kirk Heinrich found Marcus Lee in the corner, and Team Mark actually rotated over, future NBA player Team Mark, and blocked the shot with his fingertips.
Right.
And now the inclination is it was a zone slide because Jim Band plays his famous 2-3 zone. So we're going to say, okay, the zone worked. The zone blocked the shot. But this weekend, actually, I'm talking with Mike Hopkins, Syracuse assistant coach, and he said something that nobody knows about that play is that we were a man-to-man. So the Syracuse, known for its zone defense throughout history, but the biggest play in program history, they were man-to-man, which I thought was really interesting, just because they're so famous for their zone. You think Syracuse, you think zone, but then the play that got them their only title ever, they weren't even in their zone defense. That kind of just blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, wow, that's something that you don't really hear often. And it was kind of an inside the locker room, inside the huddle bite that Hopkins gave me that was like, well, we actually switched into man on that play because we thought Kansas was going to do that. They were swinging to the corner, and we thought we should pick up man-to-man and not let them expose the corner of the zone. So I thought that was just really interesting, and it kind of an inside story of one of the biggest plays, at least in Syracuse program history, if not the biggest play.
Jesse, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on to join us for this quick segment. I want to apologize to you for the delay. We've been having a little technical difficulties going on in our studio with hearing some audio. But before we wrap this up, would you mind telling the folks out there where we can find you on social media for people who are just tuning in?
Absolutely. So I'm a Syracuse basketball beat writer for the Daily Orange. It's a Syracuse daily newspaper, 5 days a week, and And you can find me at Dougherty Jesse, DOUGHERTY _Jesse, JESSE. And also you can follow our coverage at dailyorange.com. Orange the color, daily as in daily newspaper.
Nice.
dailyorange.com, all of our basketball coverage. So Syracuse's Sweet 16 push continues in Chicago, where you guys are, so we'll have all the coverage.
Well, we'll be definitely pulling for you. And if you do win, it'll definitely be an Orange Crush theme type year. If you think about it, though, with the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl, then possibly the Syracuse winning it. All right, well, best of luck to you in this tournament. You have a great, wonderful rest of your week, and enjoy the rest of this March Madness tournament.
Appreciate it. You too.
All right, have a good one, my friend. And that was Jesse Dougherty joining us from the Syracuse national basketball team for the men's tournament. And right now we're getting ready to hit this break, but we got some updates coming up here on the Chicago Blackhawks and some interesting things that have been going down right now. There's going to be a big key down the stretch you don't want to be fooling around with. You'll find out next, right when we come from this break. You're listening to Prime, the show that keeps you primed and on time. We'll be back. And welcome back, everybody, to Primed Up on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. The show keeps you primed and on time. I'm Charles Prodigy Ritchie. Once again, my man,
Juice. I'm Juice the Influence. You can catch me on Twitter, Rolo_Juice. You can catch me on Facebook, Jamar James. And you can catch me on Instagram, Juice_the Influence.
The healthy kind of juice, too, though, I might add. No, I'm just messing with you, dude. The juice is loose.
Juice is loose.
Well, anyway, as you just noticed yesterday, we're back right now, and the Chicago Blackhawks, they've been struggling quite a bit lately. They've been on a 4-game losing streak just recently, and then they lose to the Minnesota Wild. Ironically, the team who they lost a few weeks back. I mean, I believe it was in the beginning of this month. And here's where they're at right now. They're in third place in the Central Division. So the good news is, yesterday about last night's loss, they still get a point out of it. Because if you remember, for any of you who are not hockey fans or anything out there, if you manage to get the game to overtime, you get a point. If you win in overtime, you get the additional 2 points. So it's kind of, you gain 3 points right there. So even though they lost the game, they still managed to get a point. So you still manage to gain some ground. It's almost kind of like gain a half a game, like in football or baseball or basketball. Say if you didn't take care of your business, but the other team, is not playing that night. Let's say if you won, the other team did not win. It's kind of like you gain half a game. Or if they lost for you, you're not playing that night, you gain a half game. It's kind of like that. Right. Not really the way you want to go about it. But one of the things I've been noticing about the Chicago Blackhawks, they've been doing great on the power play. They've been sixth in as far as power play shots, and they definitely been one of the main concerns is that their penalty kill. They've been in the high 20s right now, and I don't know where to go, but if you look at the Hawks' last couple games, here's a quick rundown of what happened. So they went 1-5 in their last 6 games. For the total month of March, we're talking about they're 3-6 right now in March. And you got a little concern though. What's happening is you got your one goalie, Corey Crawford. He's been out with an injury. I believe it was a foot injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out, what length of time. So you got their backup goalie and Scott Darling, who's going to be filling in for him. Remember, this is the same Scott Darling that filled in for Corey Crawford in the first round of the playoffs last year when they were down 3-0 against Nashville Predators. And after the first period, they came back and won that game. They even put themselves as far as position as 3-1 lead, where it was 3-2. Then they went back to the United Center, and he gave up around I want to say it was 3, maybe 4 goals in that first period. Then you put back in Corey Crawford. So how much is his presence being missed right now?
Probably being missed a lot, man, seeing as they losing all these games.
Yeah.
So, I would say they need him back ASAP.
No doubt about it. Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap up these 5 minutes here on our show. We're gonna go transition into something else. Here's a little WrestleMania report for WWE coming up. Well, as you know, WrestleMania 32 is gonna be live this year in Dallas, Texas, in the AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys. That's gonna be taking place. And the main event you got so far right now, you got Triple H defending the WWE World Championship against Roman Reigns. Is he going to be like the guy you want to pass the torch on to right now? And, he's been kind of like off television a little bit the last few weeks. He's got his butt handed to the game not too long ago, a few weeks back. I mean, this WrestleMania right here, I don't know about you, this was kind of like one of the shakiest WrestleMania build-ups going on right now. Then you also got Undertaker versus Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon, you kidding me? After facing Triple H, Shawn Michaels, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Giant Gonzalez, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, who you began your winning streak with. I mean, you even beat guys like Edge, Batista. I don't know about you, Taker, but that's like an insult to injury right now for the dead man. I mean, it's WrestleMania. It almost sounds like, like it is, pretty much like dead. Trying to break the all-time attendance record of 92,000 plus, about 93,000 at WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan. And then you also got like 2 more matches are supposed to be announced coming up on Raw this evening. So we'll find out what those matches will be. And then, I don't know about you, but how are you feeling about this WrestleMania? You gonna be tuning in, watching? Are you a subscriber to WWE Network at all, Juice?
No, not a subscriber. Not a subscriber at the moment, but I got a few guys who are pretty heavy in it, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna have it. So yeah, I'm gonna be tuning in, man. I got to see that Shane McMahon and the Undertaker match, man. Like when I heard the matchup, it just tickled me, so I got to hear it. And then I want to see the turnout with Roman Reigns too, man. I want to see what's going on with that, man. WrestleMania has always been a big thing, and when I was younger, I could never really watch it. You know what I mean? Because we could never really get the pay-per-view. So now that I'm older and I can go out and get it on my own, I'm watching it, and I can't wait to see Shane McMahon get chokeslammed again, like he did that one night. When he was in the ring with his father and Vince and the Undertaker chased Vince out the ring. It was crazy, man.
Well, some other matches will be happening on that evening. We'll be having the Andre the Giant Battle Royal once again. This will be the 3rd annual installment. And then later on, you'll be having Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar in a no-holds-barred street fight. You'll have Charlotte with Ric Flair going up against Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, which will be a triple threat match for the WWE Divas Championship. Kalisto versus Ryback. Kalisto will be putting the United States Championship belt on the line against Ryback. Then you'll also be having a New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods, the champions, versus the League of Nations, King Barrett, Sheamus, Alberto Rio, and Rusev. And then you'll be having the Usos, Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso versus the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley.
Devon, get the table.
I don't know about you, but WrestleMania moment-wise, it will always be Bret the Man Hart winning the World Heavyweight Championship for the second time. He had to fight twice at WrestleMania 10, where he had to fight his brother Owen Hart. And the reason why he had to fight a second time, because him and Lex Luger were co-winners of a Royal Rumble back in 1994. Both feet touched the floor. They couldn't find out who was a clear-cut winner, so they had to give them both a title shot. The controversy was, only concern was going to be like who's going to be fighting Yokozuna first for the WWF Championship. So they did a coin flip on Raw, which Lex Luger ended up winning, so he got to face Yokozuna first. He wanted to face him, but in a lot of people's minds, got controversial, from winning the championship by Mr. Perfect. So did not win it right there. And then it set up the match, after Bret Hart losing to his brother Owen Hart to kick off the night, will go on to face Yokozuna. Both of them had special guest referee. Yokozuna and Lex Luger had Mr. Perfect, while Bret Hart, Yokozuna had Roddy Piper. And so he wins the match for the second time because he's two-time WWF champion. All the wrestlers come out to congratulate him. We're talking about like Macho Man, Razor Ramon, Tatanka, Spark Plug, Bob Holly, the 1-2-3 Kid come out there. You had Rhonda Shear. You also had Burt Reynolds come out there, who's a celebrity ring announcer. So he had a lot of great stuff happen that night. It was epic. But speaking of wrestling, now we're gonna finish this off. If you got one WrestleMania moment you had to share before we go on, Juice, what would you say? One more.
I would say it was that moment where I think it was that moment where I'm not sure if it was WrestleMania, but I remember Vince got his head shaved.
That was WrestleMania 23 you're referring to.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay. Nice. Well, before we go ahead and finish out this evening, we're going to finish it out with some UFC updates. Here we go. The UFC that happened over the weekend, it was a UFC fight night. It was a battle of heavyweight for the main event. It was a veteran, Frank Mir, who got KO'd by Mark Hunt at 3 minutes and 1 second of the first round. Number 9 ranked welterweight fighter Neil Magny TKO's Hector Lombard at 46 seconds of round 3. Lightweight Jake Matthews submits Johnny Case in the third round at 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Daniel Kelly TKO's Antonio Carlos Jr. at minute 36 of the third round. And Steve Ross TKO's James Tia Huna at 52 seconds of round 1. Right now in the world of MMA, you got coming up, remember you got John Jones versus Daniel Cormier at UFC 197. So that's the big match that's supposed to be coming up. And right now, some other news, Kimbo Slice, who's still finding his way out there, him and Ken Shamrock, both test positive for steroids at Bellator 149.
No good.
Nah, and definitely Shamrock's his career, as you know, it's been spiraling down the last decade. Well, speaking of spiraling down, we're going to definitely be spiraling out for the conclusion of this night. I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in to us. I'd like to thank Jesse Doherty for coming on the show to have his little segment with us regarding the NCAA tournament and his team that he covers, the Syracuse men's basketball team. Well, before we end it off, Juice, where can they find you at once again?
On Twitter, you can find me at Rolo_Juice. You can find me on Facebook, Jamar James. You can find me on Instagram, Juice_the Influencer. You can also find me on Snapchat, Juice_Rolo. So that's a new one for you guys if you want to check me out.
Nice. Had to roll over to that one.
Yeah,
I'm just
Rolo.
kidding. Rolo Polo. No, I'm just
Rolo
kidding.
Polo.
And then also you can find me at Hitman083 on Twitter.com. Then you can also find me at charlesprodigyrichie.wordpress.com. And then also, if you want to look me up on Instagram, 08prodigy09. Well, that's going to do it for us for this evening. We just want to say thank you once again. Everybody have a good, safe rest of your month, and have a nice, happy Easter and a good Friday, as we'll be saying, though, as we're streaming and double teaming tonight.
Streaming and double teaming.
You're listening to Primed Up on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Have a great evening, everybody.